She called herself Marald Dingwall Grant.
Dingwall?
Dingwall Grant. You'll see on any of the stuff, it's Marald D. Grant. It's what she signs herself. Her mother her mother's maiden name was Dingwall. And there's a whole history up in this neck of the woods here about that. But actually, that wasn't her middle name. She had several names. She was given a major kind of handle from her parents. Her full name was Marian Ronalda Annie, Annie.
Yep.
Hannah, Hannah.
Yep.
Grant.
Oh, that is interesting. I think I will.
But she hated it.
She hated it, okay.
She absolutely hated it because it was just too much, and she preferred to call herself. The Marald bit came from the first letters of these names.
I would say Marald was a champion of the underdog and always saw the best in everyone, regardless of their circumstances. She could talk to anyone at any level. And I think that's why she was so successful in running the Guild of Aid, as she empathised with those who needed help, and she could also use her charm to persuade the better off to help her in her cause. Meeting Marald Grant in 1957 when I was just 7 years old. She was my father's cousin, and she came to visit us that summer when we were on a holiday at Craigendoran near Helensburgh. She was a very cheery person, always with a smile on her face, and she asked me if I would like to go with her in her car to the sweetie shop in Helensburgh. I was a bit apprehensive about this, having been told never to get into a car with somebody that I didn't really know, but my father said it was okay, so I climbed into her car. It was a black car with brown leather seats and a windscreen, which was hinged at the top, which was something that I had never seen before. We set off up Craigendoran Avenue, but after about 50 yards she realised that she had a puncture, and so I was sent back to get my father to come and help her to change the wheel. Unfortunately, the process took so long that we never actually got to the sweetie shop at all. Later in the summer of 1957, my father took me to the Guild of Aid in Coburg Street to visit Marald. I had never been in the Gorbals before, and I remember the high crumbling brick walls and the black tenement buildings. The black buildings, of course, were the result of soot from years of burning coal fires in the city. And after the Clean Air Act came in, coal fires were banned from many parts of the cities, and the buildings were eventually cleaned up. The Guild of Aid building had steps up to the front door and tiled walls. Marald had her own office with what seemed to me like a large desk and with black and white photographs all around the walls. She was very keen in photography, and she had a cine camera long before these were widely available. In fact, she filmed my parents' wedding in 1944, and my brother still has the film.
She lived in Kilmarnock Road in the south side. She had a house there. She also had a holiday house in Alt Bay up in West Ross here. And and that's about it. She drove her own car right up until she wasn't able to, and since she was in her 80s. I mean, I know that she went to Park School. She didn't fit in well at school because she wasn't a typical girl that played with dolls and toys and things like that. And the fact that she never married, well, who knows what the situation was there really. But she was, as I said, she was quite a formidable sort of character and well known. And I don't know whether she had enemies or I really don't know. I couldn't say, but she was well known I think in the city. She was in the Seroptimists, the Glasgow Seroptimists.
Okay.
So once again, that would have been one of the ways that she would have made connections. But she's got some quite funny stories in this wee book. And I've heard these from her. I've heard her talk about these before, but they're in the book, so it's better for you to read that than to sort of hear it from me. But yeah, it must have been pretty grim in the Gorbals in the 1930s, the conditions and all the rest of it. And that was her aim, was to try and make things better for for women, particularly women with young children and babies and pregnant mothers and unmarried mothers and all that sort of thing, because there was no sort of social welfare system. So things were pretty grim.
What do you think she'd make of me calling her a feminist?
Well, there's a question. I mean, feminism was not that much of an issue, I suppose, in her time, but she was... I think she would be very supportive of what you're doing, actually. I mean, I do think so. She was not a wilting flower by any manner of means. She was a lady who stood up for everything that, that she believed in, and she wasn't frightened to take on dominant male people, dominant men, that sort of thing. She probably was a feminist, but I would never have thought about that because as a wee boy it would never have occurred to me.
Has anybody else ever been in touch with you about her?
No, never.
No, right, okay.
No. So I would think I would think it's unlikely that anybody else has actually done this research.